Well,
That'll be a good start to it, Luis, right there. We'll let Charlie start this one
Charlie start. I was just about to say, well, hello and welcome to Loper Life, everybody. Today we have some special guests with us. We have Hawkins, who is Mr. Matt's son, and we have Nick, our Loper here, one of my good buddies that I work with, and Matt. Today we're going to talk about life on the road. A little bit of life on the road, life at the shows.
Yeah. I'm curious to see. I haven't got to spend a whole lot of time on life on the road. I've certainly visited y'all while y'all have been out traveling a couple of times, but I'm excited to hear, what Nick has, what Nick's opinion is on life on the road, what your experiences are, Luis, and then we got Hawkins here. He's going to listen and we can ask him some questions about what he's doing and where he's going. What he's doing out here with us today. But it was a good day. It was a beautiful day out here. We had some rain come through yesterday, but man, it really came through today.
But at least the rain came in the evening. We were able to at least get our stuff done here at the barn and worry about that thing. And that rain came in late.
I saw the round pen was still a little wet, so I didn't.
Yeah, we just used the walker today. That round pen was.
That makes the day a little longer though when you can't use the turnout.
Maybe ride a couple extra horses or have to lunge them, but.
Yeah. So y'all had a busy day today then?
It's been it's been pretty normal.
So
as busy as
so what did you do with Hawkins today?
We gave Hawkins a lesson. We literally just got done now.
Luis, you're really talented at that, man. You're really good with these kids. I've watched you several times with Hawkins and other kids, and you can really you really get them excited about it. Saw Hawkins break out into a smile a couple of times.
Well, good. Well, and I appreciate that. I tell you what, I try to give any kids that I've given lessons to or any lessons I give, I try to give them the experience I didn't have.
Yeah.
Sometimes I had just go left, go right, go, and sometimes I get caught myself. I catch myself where I'm like, okay, do this, do that. But I try to make it interesting. I'll make games, and I'm very communicate a lot more with the children as much as I can, and I make it fun. I give them scenarios that they wouldn't think of.
Hawkins, what was your favorite part about today?
My favorite part about today was the pivoting and the stops.
So he did something different with you today, didn't he? What was the thing he did with the stops? Was there a game or something?
We played
musical horses.
Or when the music stops, you gotta stop
Yeah, you read my mind. That radio was messing with me. But yeah, no, musical horses. It's good with transitions. And I tell you what, I'm not an expert at it. I have a friend of mine, Maggie, over in Alabama, that reminded me of the game. I called her for some advice. I was like, hey, Maggie, I'm running out of ideas for these kids. And she said, dude, do musical horses. It works on transitions. So the music goes, you can either choose jogging, trotting, long trotting, or you can lope them. The music starts, they lope off. Whenever they hear the music stop, obviously they'll stop their horse as collected and as a good transition should be. So it just works on a variety of different things.
And that has applications not only in the arena, but also if you're working cattle or you're just riding in general, like, hey, I need to stop quick. I mean, that's a really good thing for these kids to learn.
Most definitely. Horsemanship in general. Learn how to ride, how to handle, where to pull, how to do it.
Yeah.
But
you
making
look good
it fun.
out there, Hawkins.
He did. He's going to take my job here.
He's been taking lessons now for about 6 months, maybe maybe a little more, 8 months. Yeah. He really has a lot lot of fun. He's excited about coming.
I'm glad every time I bail on him. You always tell me Hawkins is gonna be devastated. Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, don't remember. It's like pouring lemon on the cut.
Hurting his feelings.
All right, so we got the intro here. Nick, why don't you? We're going to talk about life on the road today, and we've got Nick here who's gonna. So Nick, why don't you?
How'd you get into horses, Nick? Real quick, if you can just give us a brief bio, like how'd you get here? How are we seeing you today?
Yeah, well, Luis, I've kind of been raised in this industry. My dad was a horse trainer, and the last few years I just kind of took some time off just to get my life started and see what I wanted to do. And I've always had a passion for horses, and I've tried other things. And about a year ago or so, I was just sitting at home, and I was like, I want to go work for a trainer. And I called up our boss, Brady, and I just started, and that's how I've always done this. I love horses, and this is what it starts your career off of, wanting to be a trainer. I mean, everybody starts somewhere.
Correct.
And I've been loafing for about a year. I love being on the road. you interact with a bunch of different people and everybody. Just it's a different community out there. It's like a second family to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
for
how
sure.
would you compare being on the road and being at home? What would you choose? Do you like being on the road than being at home more? And
I mean, I love being on the road because you meet a lot of different people. But on the other hand, you want to be at home because I mean you're just so tired and it's just a different stage. And you
tired is just a state of mind.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love being on the road. Honestly, I would probably want to be on the road a lot more than I stay at home because I meet a lot of new people. You get your name out there, and that's how you really get started in this industry. Is you get your name out there, and people know you, and if you have a good reputation, you're a good kid, and get real started.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, so tell us a little bit about where you just came back from. You were at the, what was the name
Super
of the show?
Stakes.
Yeah.
Super Stakes. Yes, sir. We were out there for about 26 days or so, close to a month.
That's a long time. Yeah.
It is a very long time, and it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of stress out. And once you get through those days, and you just come home and you relax, it's nice to come home. But another pain, you just want to go on the road again. I love going to Fort Worth. It's everybody's there. You meet a lot of different people. You see all your friends. You get to interact, and it's long, but it's fun. You make it fun. You make it interesting, and you just get to meet a lot of new people.
Right.
Okay. So how did the show go?
Oh, we actually did pretty good. Our amateurs did really good. Show was long, but I mean,
What makes a good show versus a bad show?
I mean,
Is it all about how the horses and the riders perform,
No.
or are there other things that
no,
are?
not necessarily. I mean, you could have your riders or even your boss do bad, but you could meet a lot of different people and it still be fun. You can still make it interesting.
Yeah.
It's not just about your horses, how they are doing. It's how you make your show.
No.
It all depends on how you want to spend that show. If you want to have a good show, you have a good mindset, a good attitude, start every day good. And
He's been taking my advice.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Now,
Yeah.
would you say you learn more about horsemanship at the show or at home?
Probably at the shows, you
Yeah.
see a lot of different people and how they treat treat horses. You just learn. You see a bunch of different ways
Yeah.
of how to handle a horse, or a lot of these bigger people open their bigger horses. You just see how they got from where I am now to how they are. Like
Yeah.
it's just you learn so much from other people.
Well, I
like,
think that's a big point in most things. You get, regardless of what it is, you practice, kind of behind closed doors, if you will, because you're learning. You're going through, and it's easy to get kind of stuck in your own rut or stuck in your own habits and think, okay, I got this down. But
Yeah.
then you go out and you have to either perform or you're somehow in public or other
Yeah.
people are watching, but you also get to watch other people do something, or
Yeah.
you get to say, hey, my horse is doing this. How do I correct that? And you get to. So I think there's a really important aspect of getting out there, out of your comfort zone, in a different place,
For sure.
learning how to get a different take on things, I guess.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you like here at home, we don't lope our horses like we're getting loped for a show. And when you go out there and you consistently do it, you feel yourself either getting worse or getting better at it, and like it's just a reputation of it. Just
Yeah.
Now, how would you go about preparing yourself for a show? You being more of a show loper and going out and traveling more, and even if you're just at home, eventually you're going to be taken to a show. But
Yeah.
how do you prepare yourself? What's the difference of loping at home and actually getting the horse ready at the show to be shown? What are some things that you and or other lopers that you know of do in preparation for the show at home to the actual show?
I don't know. You just kind of plan it out. Like you always know what day you're leaving. I mean, when you're at home, you don't have to worry about as much. When you're going to a show, you got to make sure your trailer's packed. You got everything you need for that show. Your show shirts, your hats, and it's all about time management. You can really learn a lot about time when you're going to a show, especially if you're on the road every single day.
There's not a whole lot of time
Yeah,
in
like-
between
Well,
sets or anything like that.
I got a
Yeah.
solution right now that would save y'all a lot of time.
What do you got?
If you wore your cowboy hat every day, you wouldn't have to worry about whether it's packed.
Hey,
that's
keep
just
mine
me.
Hey,
you know,
I keep mine in the trailer. I make sure my
But
cowboy
if
hat
it was
stays
on
in
your
the
head,
main
you,
trailer.
like Hawkins and I, we're ready to go right now. Like if Brady said, "Hey, we're going to the show," we're getting in the truck.
Yeah, we're
I mean,
getting in the truck.
you two,
I could
don't
jump in
know
the
about-
truck too.
Yeah,
Mine's in the trailer.
Yeah,
Mine's
we
right,
keep,
right,
I
yeah.
keep mine in the trailer.
Yeah,
I make
it's-
sure
it's-
that's in there.
What's so you talked about packing the trailer, and I'm interrupting your preparation.
no
but what's one thing that have you ever left anything?
Yes, actually, this is very embarrassing.
Yeah.
But there was a weekend show last
I know I
year. We were
have.
hauling a horse, and Luis was coming out there for a few days, and I actually forgot my underwear.
I remember that.
I forgot my underwear.
Hey, he called.
I called
yeah,
Luis,
no,
and I was like, "Dude, I forgot my underwear."
he called me. He was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I just finished working. I like walked in the house. I was like, "I'm cooking dinner or something like that." He's like, "Dude, I need a really big favor for you. It's gonna be really weird." And I was like, "Okay, hit me with what you got. Let's see. I'm kind of weird." And he said, "I forgot my underwear. Can you bring me some underwear?" I said, "You want me to go in your drawers
and
get your drawers?"
Oh, well, it was.
Man, I put them in like a I felt like I was doing some illegal stuff. I put it in a Walmart bag, like under my thing. Like, "Here, your underwear, buddy. Don't let no one know."
Hawkins, you've never forgotten anything going to a soccer game, have you?
No.
No. We have a routine that we go through when we're packing, like cleats,
Hey.
socks, shin guards, underwear, shorts, shirt, jerseys,
Man.
right? Your older brother one time, he forgot his cleats. We were going to a state playoff game in Maryland, and we get halfway there. It's like a 2-hour drive there, and he looks down and goes, "Dad, I forgot my cleats."
Oh,
Oh,
fantastic!
I
that
know,
would be
right?
like me forgetting
But
my
hey, you know what?
boots.
Here I've learned the hard way, like how you react. It's not the mistake that defines how you're gonna perform, whether it's a soccer game or a horse show or in whatever you're
Yeah.
getting to in life. It's how you react to it. And
Mm-hmm.
so right there, it's like, okay, we can work through this. You know, we got options. Your mom's still back at home with your brother, your older brother. We can have them go by the
Yeah.
house and get them. Or hey, there's a Dick's Sporting Goods on the way. We'll go by and get you some new cleats. You know, it may not be as nice as the
They're
ones
not gonna
that
be
you
the
had
ones you
before,
had, but
we can get you some cleats. So it's all I've learned the hard way, and it's something that I'm trying to pass on to my sons. That it's not the mistake that defines what happens next or defines the failure or success of an event.
It's how you
It's
resolve
how
it.
how you respond to it. Because if you've got a negative attitude, like that messed up the whole thing. And Brady and I have had that same conversation. He's like, Brady and I were talking about what do you do when a horse performs bad? And he said, when I was first starting, I would get really mad, really frustrated, but then that would mess with the horses. The horse
State of
would
mind.
state of mind in the show. He'd have a negative. He or she'd have a negative. Could
feeding
develop
off that negative energy. Yeah.
Or I can say, okay, that happened. We got to get ready for the next one, or we got to get ready for the next show or the next horse. And man, I tell you what, that's something that I think anybody can walk away from, no matter what age you are. If you're listening to the podcast or Hawkins here, Nick here, it's how you respond. And so, if you forget your underwear, remember there are options.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You
There are
can call Luis and have him go through your drawers. To get
I wanted to
drawers.
I wanted to bring him girl
Or
underwear.
you know what? Other options are just go. Hey, I've learned traveling too. Travel all over the world. If you forget something, there's usually a store there that has that.
He just waiting on me
Yeah.
for 3 days.
No.
You're coming Saturday? Okay, well it's Tuesday, and I only brought one pair of underwear. I wanted to bring him female underwear. I was
No.
pink with glitter. Here you go, sir.
No, ever since then, I've really learned that. Plus, I think I was rushing.
He'll
that
pack.
day.
Like, look, for
pack.
shows,
I'm
for
a
shows, he'll
last-minute
be
packer.
well, last minute packer, or at least a few shows that I've been with him, he'll be packed like 2 or 3 days before, and I'll be like, "What do you do?" I pack. We'll work horses that day before we leave, and my lunch will be packing. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just be cramming stuff. Like that's it.
Hey,
that's
that's
it.
how I do it.
I
That's-
forgot my belt one time.
Yeah,
No.
that is right. You forgot your
Bailey
belt.
Just grab a latigo or a
I grabbed
hairstring.
baling twine.
Baling
Baling
twine, there you
twine.
go.
Brett,
Right,
Brady's
that's real
dad. Brady's
cowboy
dad
right
was there. He looked at me and he
That
was
was in
like,
Jackson,
"What are you?"
wasn't it?
Yeah, he was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I
Like a
forgot my
bull
belt."
rider, the bull rider just wrap around the front two loops.
Yes.
Nick, what's the difference? I asked it earlier of getting a horse ready at a show and at home. Like, what's the difference? What's the mindset you go into
well,
getting that horse ready to be shown?
At home, you really don't have to really get in that horse's mind. You want him to get serious to go work so Brady can get the best work and see what he needs to work on at home. But at shows, you really need to have that horse down and used to your feet and have a lot of control actually with your feet, because in our industry, you cannot use your hands at all other than when you're picking out your cow. And it's just, you want that horse calm. You don't want it revved up. You just want to have it in a good state of mind where it's going to go out there and it's going to do its job instead of messing up.
Okay. So, but that's a pretty common thing in Western, right? I mean, Luis has probably got a lot of.
for the
I know
most part,
Luis has got a lot
For
of
the most
experience
part.
with English and other events, but you're not pulling on the reins a whole lot. You keep your
Yeah,
mouth
you're
soft.
on a loose rein the
Soft.
majority
You
of the
want
time.
them soft. You want them to not fight you
Yeah.
or not be numb to that bridle, because I've done it multiple times to where I mess with a horse's mouth where that horse can get super numb to a bridle, and it's just
I think we've all done it.
yeah,
So,
I mean,
so we're talking about warming a horse up, and what's the difference? Obviously, there's differences in whether you're getting a horse ready at home, but when you're in that loper pen, and you've got horses that horse doesn't know, maybe people that you don't know, different tendencies. What are some of the things that maybe you do at home when you're loping that maybe you either can't do or wouldn't do when you're in with all those other lopers? Or just what's that experience like in general?
It's different at home because you have a lot more room, and our horses are used to home, and our horses are used to shows as well because they've been taken since their 3-year-old year, and you just want to make sure your horse is prepared for that, and at home you don't have to worry about as much in our surroundings.
Are there rules for the road when you're in there in the arena?
Yes,
Where-
yes, and let me throw one out that I have had. I have some beef with this one. Yes, I do. At every
I'm asking
single
all the good
show,
questions
at
today.
every single show. Let me tell you, and this is going to be a 411 for everybody. Everybody, todo el mundo, everybody. This is
Listen, Hawkins,
listen, Hawkins, because even in the English world and the reining world, there is not one discipline that this does not correspond with that I've had the experience with. Walk your horse in the middle. Outer edge of your circle after the walk, trot your horse. Next one is lope your horse, okay? And then if
I
you're
got
on a
a very funny
stud,
story
or
for
if
that.
you're on a horse that it's too much or something, hug the wall, something. Get out of my way. I'll be loping horses, and there's been times where there's been 4 or 5 lopers lined up. And lined up to a T, right where you're cantering, you're punting, horse, dodging horse. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. My God,
I will.
trot in the middle, or walk in the middle, trot on the outer edge, canter, hug the rail if you're on a stud or something crazy, please, because I'm not gonna be nice anymore. I have actually this last show I started sighing really loud, I'm waiting for somebody to tell me something. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No.
Got a little
Speaking of
excited.
that, Luis, genuinely at this last show at the Super Stakes, people had so many problems with that, and it's a lot. You can, if you are wanting to walk on the outside, most people do it at bigger shows with bigger arenas, like at Fort Worth or even a show in Perry, Georgia. People were walking on the outside, and you got a very small loping pen with a lot of horses and a lot of lopers. And it's very difficult, and a lot of people have a big issue with it. Just stay out of our way if you're loping. Just be courteous of where you're at and your surroundings. And if somebody's loping, get out their way. Don't walk right in their way. Don't cut them off.
So how do you change direction? And here we just kind of look at each other and give
Change
them, "Hey, you
directions.
ready?"
What's that?
Yeah.
There'll be sometimes.
Well, changing directions at shows, a lot of times, especially at Fort Worth or bigger aged events, we'll always switch during the cattle changes. We'll go through a set and the settle and set, and then we'll change the other direction. Other times, people will go one direction the whole time, or you can even speak up about it. It's just the
Yeah,
guys change directions.
and Nick won't speak up about it because he'll ride up next to me and he'll be like, "Hey,
Hey,
turn around."
If two of us do it,
Yeah,
everybody else follows suit.
turn around. And
I'm
then
mad
I'm
about
a
it
wimp
with
too.
one
I'm like,
direction.
I ain't turning around. I ain't turning around.
Because unless you're like a very well known loper, I learned this the hard way. You get dirty looks if you change.
I don't care about dirty
directions.
looks. I just don't want to do it. I'm just like, well,
I'm
I'm
not doing
loping.
it.
I'm loping. I'm chilling. Like I ain't. It
all
ain't.
depends
It's not
on-
bothering me at all. Now, would I like to go the other way? Of course, but I'm not gonna make a big deal about it. That ain't my problem.
So you're good with just going one direction.
I
the
don't
whole
care.
time?
I'll have one. I'll have like a little old lady or something. And I'm sorry, I say little old lady. I just don't know your name. Every once in a while at shows, they've been like, Can I turn around? I'm like,
I don't know.
I don't care. Are you doing it? All right, we're turning around. As soon as I see them turn, I'm like, where's that? Where's that?
We're
The child,
leaders,
reverse.
not
Reverse.
We're followers,
not
not
leaders.
leaders.
Yeah,
All right.
in that aspect.
Yeah.
Yes. But I mean,
Well, Hawkins, do you have any questions? Anything you want to know? You got Luis and Nick here. You can't ask me any questions.
He don't even ask me questions at the during lessons. I'll be like, you have any questions? Nope.
no, I know it all. I'm a professional at this.
Yeah, he's getting there.
He's getting there. We're gonna get him
We're
some
gonna get him in the
Spurs
cutting ring.
soon.
You know,
Soon.
he's ready. Well, what do you think?
I think good. I think I have one more question. How do you set everything up? Like how? Man, I just drew a blank. Shoot.
You got it.
And taking what are your aspects of setting a stall up? Something easy, setting a tack stall up, or are you using the trailer for saddling horses up? Like, do you have a certain area? Like, what does it depend on the show?
It all depends on the show. In West Monroe, we have a show that will always stall on the outside where we can park our trailer out there and we can just saddle them right there. Or at Fort Worth, you gotta make your own tack stall. So we get an extra stall and we have our saddle rack and our bridle racks and all our buckets and brushes and our med box and it really all depends on different shows. Because in Fort Worth, you can't park a trailer right there. You gotta go park it day parking or whatever. And it really just depends on a show. I genuinely don't mind a tack stall. Sometimes when you're at bigger shows, you got a lot of stuff to do. It's kind of a pain in the butt to do, but I mean, with our boss, Brady loves to do that. It's just kind of an enjoyment of setting everything up. Setting up stalls is really easy. You just kind of bust your bags of shavings. You make sure they got a feed pan and their 2 water buckets, or sometimes we gotta tie a horse up. We just get an extra bucket in there and a hay bag, and we get everything set up, and we'll get all the waters and get them watered before we even take them off the trailer, because you don't want to take the horse off the trailer and put it in a stall with no water.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's been on the trailer. Some different shows are 13 hours, some are 2, and we just care about our horses. Want to make sure when they get off they're comfortable, they're relaxed, because that's how you really start off a show. Because you get a horse there and it's already riled up and stirred up, you might not have a good show because that mindset's already riled up. Just getting calm.
Now, is there anything in the arena, or do you bring all your tack with you every time you use the horse? Because I've been in different disciplines in my life, and there's been times that I've gone to show and all of our stuff is in the tack room, and we don't bring anything into the arena or anything like that. We just bridle our horses up here and there. If we got a different bit, someone will hold it for me and pass it to me when I need it, and that's just about it. So is there some these?
Really depends on different shows. Fort Worth, we just use somebody else's rack. We'll keep all our bridles in our tack stall, but whatever we need, like our loping bridle and our show bridle, we'll take all that stuff in, like their chaps, our show bags, and we'll take it in and we'll put it on someone else's rack. But at these smaller weekend shows, we got our own rack, so we take our rack in and we'll take the bridles that we used for the day and just keep them in there, and in the afternoons when we're done showing for the day, we'll just put them back in our trailer.
Right.
Mr. Matt, you have anything?
Well, so I had a quick question. So you get there, I guess some of it's I'm sure show dependent, but how soon do you saddle the horse and go for a ride? after you get there? Is it usually the next day?
Good question.
Most of the time, yeah. Next days, depends on where we go. Like I've gone to a show that we got there, we set up our tack stall, and then we had a little pre-work. This was last year, Perry, and we get there, we set up our tack stall, set up all our stalls, and later in the day had a little pre-work. So when we got on that day, but a lot of other shows, it's normally we get there in the afternoon, set up our stalls, tack stalls, go get checked in our hotels, go get some dinner, and then we ride them the next day when they are either just getting ready to work or showed or whatever it is.
Okay.
I think it depends too on the person, because I've worked for people in other industries where we'd show up to a show and it was show up, get everything ready type deal, get out. And once you're ready, I mean, you could sit down for 20 minutes, maybe an hour, and then you're riding every single horse that you brought to practice. And it's like, we brought 20 horses, bro.
We drove for 12 hours.
Yeah.
I got to ride for 8 more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it just depends. But me personally, I've always had better experiences with the horses being able to sit in the stall and rest for the night, especially if it was a long haul.
Yeah.
I feel as much of a hard ass that I put off and an attitude that I have, I feel
You're just a big teddy bear.
Yeah, I'm just a big teddy bear, and I actually have I feel bad for the horses sometimes. I'm like, damn, bro, he's been on the trailer for 12 hours. Now we're gonna work him for another hour and a half, something. So I think it just depends. But me personally, I've always had better experience with the horses being able to relax for the evening, eat their hay, eat their alfalfa cubes, and have a good night's rest. And I'll see you at 4.
All right. Before I think we're getting close to about 30 minutes, but I've
Yes.
got a really, really important question for Nick. And this ties into to the very first podcast we did, Loper Games. And you've kind of touched on it a little bit here, Luis, but I'm going to put Nick on the spot.
All right, I won't say
Nick,
that.
Let me hit.
If somebody was going to have Loper Games, what is the one game that you would want to see in a Loper Games?
It can't be a foot race because I done beat him twice.
What's the one event you'd want to see in Loper Games?
I don't know. I think the setting up a stall
Yeah.
would be interesting. Like me, sometimes it shows Luis won't even realize it, but I'll be racing with him to who can open.
I do the same.
Open the bags of shavings.
I will- Hey, there's a reason we get the stalls done quick or everything finished quick. He just said without Luis realizing it. What he doesn't realize is I have a
He
race with
does.
him.
He does, without
Every time
me
I'll get in front of a stall and I'm like,
Yeah.
That's fun. Now
Yeah.
that I know.
So your vote is for shavings. Is that what we're going with?
Yes, just
Shavings layout.
setting up the stalls or
Okay.
a tack stall. I mean, just see who
So
does
what would
the
that look
quick-
like? I guess you'd have all the equipment sitting off to the side, just mixed up, and you'd say, okay,
Sitting off
ready,
to the
go,
side,
and then go have a mock stall set up, and they have to set it all up, and the fastest person, and then or the best looking one wins.
We'd have to really sit down and write the rules down for that. But yeah, for the most part, the best looking. I really like the stick horse idea. That
The
one stuck
stick
to my
rail.
head. I like
All
that.
right,
That would
Hawkins,
be pretty
What would
funny.
if you could pick a Loper game based off what you've learned here in the last couple of months, if there was a arena game that you could do on foot, preferably, not on a horse.
Yeah, I was just about to say he's gonna be like Paul Pendon.
Yeah. What would be your vote? I mean, I'm thinking for you it might be dummy roping.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta catch it.
Yeah, just make up something to do,
Yeah.
in the afternoons, especially after you're done and everybody else is done. Everybody really just loves to hang out, and
Yeah.
talk, and
Yeah, that's a good point.
With
We
Nick,
talked
that
about
was
Luis.
Well, we talked about doing it while we were settling cattle, but you could do that.
At the end of the day?
At the end of the day,
yeah,
have something for everybody.
After
to
you've
kinda
worked
look
all
forward
day,
to.
you want
And
a little
fun,
bit of a giggle.
exciting, fun, entertaining. It could be something that you do separate.
Let
So I
the
didn't
arena
think about
down,
that.
have some
Yeah.
mud wrestling.
scooter
mud
race. Hey,
wrestling.
we would have scooter races.
You could let some lopers get some pent up aggression after you've run into somebody while you're warming up.
Oh, you got some
Yeah,
beef
like,
with
hey,
somebody?
yeah,
Oh,
after they
that's
get out of your
dangerous.
way.
You can't give me that opportunity.
No.
Put on the gloves and that Q-tip stick.
The
Stand
bugle
on
stick?
it. Yeah. Oh. That would be a danger. Talk about the Jackie Chan coming out at me. I'm already aggressive as it is.
No, that would be a lot of people, truly. Like, a lot of people have a big
They'd all
issue
line
with
up at
that.
Nick's. Nick's.
Like I'll pair up and Nick standing there and everybody's on line up against you.
And nobody would be lined up for us. It's just, no, we want Nick. We want.
All right, guys, I really enjoyed this conversation. For everybody who is listening, if we left something out talking about traveling experience as a loper or a trainer, something that you want to see lopers know how to do, let us know. We really enjoy the comments and the conversation beyond this podcast. So we really appreciate everybody listening. This is our third one, Luis.
Is our third one.
Numero
Third
tres.
one, and on the fourth one, we are going to have a guest.
Okay.
I don't know who it is yet, but I am reaching out to some people.
Okay.
Nick's a guest, but
Yeah, Nick
Yeah.
and
we need
Hawkins are
someone.
our guest today.
We need someone more interesting.
More interesting. I got a lot of
He did
loper
really
friends.
well.
I'll get you
He
people.
did really well, and both of you, Hawkins. We appreciate both of you
Yeah.
coming
Yeah,
on and talking.
thanks for hanging out.
and
Thank y'all
sharing
for
this with
having me,
us
for sure.
today. This was we kind of crammed this in after Hawkins' lesson today, and we really appreciate everybody listening and appreciate Nick and Hawkins coming on. Luis, I appreciate you letting me participate in this thing.
Oh, anytime.
And it's fun to do the behind-the-scenes stuff with you, getting it uploaded on the computer. We're gonna
Tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Tonight.
I like for real. It's
Okay.
going to be up tonight,
Okay.
not 3 days later.
Do I
Friday.
get
What's today? Friday.
Free lessons for Hawkins every day that you don't do
Shit.
that.
It will be up yet. All right, bet. Deal. It'll
Make
be
Louise
up
work.
tonight.
Louise
It'll be
work.
up
Earn
tonight.
that
What's
money.
today? Friday.
Today's Friday. Yeah.
Friday. It will be up today. Friday.
Okay.
Well, guys, guess next time we have it, our podcast will have a guest. Like I said, I don't know yet, but it's in the works. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, a nice, safe weekend, and keep cutting.
Keep cutting.